War tension in the football world. Real Madrid president Florentino Perez and Barcelona's Joan Laporta are publicly trading heavy words as the referee bribery scandal explodes again. Good evening and welcome to this special report. Tonight, mounting tension at the very heart of Spanish, indeed global, football. A bitter institutional clash between two of Europe's biggest football clubs, Real Madrid and Barcelona. At the center of it, serious accusations of bribery, referee influence, and doubts about the integrity of refereeing in La Liga. In the red corner, Real Madrid's president, Florentino Perez, who, in a fiery address at Real Madrid's General Assembly, has reignited the so-called Negreira case, accusing Barcelona of paying more than €8 million over nearly 2 decades to a referee's official. In the blue corner, Barcelona's president, Joan Laporta, who responded hours later with scathing remarks, calling the accusations obsessive, rejecting any wrongdoing, and framing the attacks as a smear campaign. This showdown doesn't just touch on club rivalry or bragging rights, it threatens to undermine confidence in the fairness and neutrality of Spanish football at large. Over the next 30 minutes, we unpack the allegations, examine the evidence, hear from both sides, and consider what this means for La Liga, its fans, and the future of Spanish football. The Negreira case centers around payments made by FC Barcelona over many years to a former high-ranking refereeing official, José María Enríquez Negreira, who was the vice president of the Referees Committee, CTA, in Spain. According to investigators, between 2001 and 2018, the club paid roughly €7.5 to €8.4 million to a company owned by Negreira or linked to him. Prosecutors allege that these payments may have been a way to influence refereeing decisions indirectly, by securing preferential treatment, favorable referee assignments, or promotions/demotions, thereby giving Barcelona a competitive advantage. Barcelona has long defended the payments as legitimate, claiming they were for referee analysis, consultancy, and match reports, not for bribery or manipulation. In past statements, the club said they provided scouting reports, referee evaluations, and nothing more. Former club presidents, under investigation, have testified that the payments were always billed as services, referee analysis and advice, and that there was no attempt to influence match outcomes. Despite those defenses, the case remains active, with courts requesting documents, contracts, and testimony. Various club officials, past and present, are being scrutinized. The magnitude of payments over 17 years, coinciding with one of Barcelona's most successful eras, has raised serious eyebrows. Critics argue that such long-term, high-value payments to a refereeing official amount to an attempt to influence the integrity of the competition. So that's the background. A 17-year pattern of payments, officially described as consultancy, but under legal and public scrutiny as possible bribery. And these accusations have now ignited a violent rhetorical confrontation between the two arch-rivals of Spanish football. On November 23, 2025, at Real Madrid's General Assembly, Florentino Perez delivered a scathing speech attacking not just Barcelona, but the state of Spanish refereeing and broader governance in football. Perez called the situation not normal, saying, "It's not normal that Barcelona has paid the vice president of referees more than €8 million for at least 17 years, whatever the reason." He argued that this payment scheme coincided suspiciously with Barcelona's golden period, a time of multiple domestic titles and dominance in Spanish football. Perez also criticized Spanish refereeing more broadly, pointing out that FIFA recently did not select any Spanish on-field referees for a major international competition, suggesting a decline in trust and standards. Going further, Perez used statistical comparisons, for example pointing to disciplinary records, red cards, and alleged inconsistencies between domestic and European competition officiating, to imply that Barcelona may have benefited from biased officiating. With those remarks, Perez didn't just reopen an old wound, he threw down the gauntlet. And in the highly charged world of Spanish football, that's like lighting a fuse. Segment 3, The Response, Laporta fires back. Visual, footage of Joan Laporta speaking from Andorra, or mock setup, intercut with Barcelona fans and club facilities. Within hours, Barcelona's president Joan Laporta responded publicly. In a statement, While in Andorra, he described Perez's accusations as out of line and representing Real Madrid's obsession with Barca. He said the club would not accept these cheap shots. Laporta denied categorically that Barcelona ever bribed referees. He repeated, Barca have never bribed referees. He further accused Real Madrid of trying to manipulate public opinion through media, suggesting the club tries, every week, to influence referees. As a counterpoint, Laporta referenced recent controversial refereeing decisions in matches involving Real Madrid, claiming that some of their recent goals were invalid, and implying that officials had historically favored Madrid more than Barcelona. Furthermore, Laporta argued the repeated focus on the Negreira case is deliberate, a way for Madrid to fuel a narrative whenever Barcelona enjoys success. He called the judicial process being used by Madrid like chewing gum, stretched out just to keep the story alive. So, what we have now is more than a legal case. It's a full-blown media war. With both presidents publicly trading barbs, each trying to shape the narrative in their favor, and both arguably stoking fan anger and distrust in officiating. Segment 4, The Stakes, What's at Risk for Football? At its core, this isn't just about two clubs trying to score psychological points. If the accusations have merit, or if public perception believes they do, it could erode trust in the entire refereeing system of La Liga and Spanish football. For fans, sponsors, and broadcasters, the value of the league depends heavily on fairness, legitimacy, and credibility. A scandal like this, long-running payments to a refereeing official who influences match assignments, could damage that. For referees themselves, even if they're innocent, their reputations are under scrutiny, and their decisions will be viewed with suspicion. That can make their job infinitely harder, and might deter top talent from officiating in Spain. For clubs, even those not directly involved, a verdict or public opinion against Barcelona may force institutional changes, stricter oversight, and possibly re-evaluations of past matches. For clubs like Real Madrid, there's also risk, accusations of hypocrisy, given their own past clashes with referees and governance bodies. For Spanish football governance, the spotlight could shift to how the league and refereeing committee are regulated, how finances and payments are disclosed, and whether future reforms will be demanded to safeguard impartiality. Segment 5, What we know, what is under investigation, what remains unproven. Confirmed payments. Barcelona made payments, to a company linked to Negreira, totaling Euro 7.5–8.4 million over 2001 to 2018. Official explanation: club claims payments were for consultancy, reports, referee analysis, not bribery. Legal proceedings ongoing. Courts have requested documents, former presidents and directors have testified. The investigation continues. Public allegations by rival club Real Madrid's president publicly accused Barcelona of wrongdoing, citing the payments as suspicious and linked to club success. Rebuttal by Barcelona president: flat denial of bribery, claims of smear campaign and media manipulation, demands for fair treatment and club's reputation defense. Unproven claims: no verified evidence, publicly disclosed, proving that match results were altered, or that referees' decisions were systematically biased or manipulated in favor of Barcelona. That table tells us where things stand. On paper, payments happened. Allegations are serious. But the point of referee-fixed matches? That remains unproven, and perhaps impossible to prove with certainty. The court proceedings around the Negreira case are ongoing. We expect more testimonies from former officials, further document requests, and possibly courts deciding whether payments constituted criminal corruption or were within legal bounds. Meanwhile, the tension between Real Madrid and Barcelona is unlikely to die down. With both clubs fighting for titles domestically and in Europe, these accusations may re-emerge at key moments, before big matches, in the press, on social media. For fans, players, referees, and football authorities, there's growing pressure to reform governance, increase transparency, and ensure that football matches are decided on sport, not suspicions. International bodies may also look closer. If the case undermines confidence in a major European league, it could influence how referees are assigned and monitored at continental and global levels. And finally, public perception may shift. Some fans may become cynical. Others may demand accountability. For football, a sport built in large part on faith in fair play, that may be the biggest consequence of all. Closing, final take. This story goes beyond club rivalry. What we're witnessing is perhaps one of the most serious challenges to the credibility of Spanish football in decades. Payments spanning almost 2 decades, accusations of bribery, court investigations, and now a public war of words between the presidents of the 2 biggest clubs in Spain. Whether tomorrow's headlines will bring legal verdicts, or simply more accusations, one fact remains: the trust of fans, referees, and all stakeholders is on the line. And without that, football loses more than just matches, it loses legitimacy. Stay tuned. We'll keep following as this story unfolds. Thank you for watching, and good night.